Yeah, I'm on level again. My bed isn't on the ground anymore. My bed isn't on the ground anymore. I think there was a glitch up there. Whatever. Yeah, see, this is why you gotta watch Z-Man reviews episodes in order, man. You gotta figure out the lore. Gotta figure out what happens to this poor young guy who no one cares about. So, King of the Hill is one of those I should put in the I waited way too long to get into season 2 category. I covered this show so many months ago. So honestly, the fact I didn't cover the show again, I didn't even think about covering the show again sooner, mixed with all the problems I've been having with my channel. It's been a lot, and I do apologize it took so long with this one specifically. Because this and Solar Opposites are shows I've been really dying to watch more of and review more of, but I just haven't for some reason. But at least now But at least now I'm finally getting season 2 done, and I can be properly all settled with that. One, how to fire a rifle without really trying. Bobby gets really good with the rifle. Too bad Hank's getting worse. Already we start off promising. This is a 4 out of 5. Coming back to King of the Hill, and already the first episode is pretty good. Yeah. This episode deals a lot with Hank's past experiences, even trying to fire a rifle, and pretty much showing that Cotton is a horrible dad. But is that really? But if you watched his appearance in season 1, this really shouldn't be news to you. Well, it's really interesting seeing Bobby actually take an interest in something Hank has an interest in. You feel really bad for Bobby in this episode. He just wants to enjoy his passion, but due to Hank going through all this, Hank doesn't want to encourage what Bobby's doing. It's really sad. Even though, well, I guess I won't spoil it, but let's just say the ending is still extremely wholesome. And in general, and even still, this episode manages to still have some good jokes in it despite the serious plot line. Examples of saying Hank is when Hank pretty much just straight up said Bobby isn't that good at things. That was the teacher talking about how you need better excuses. In general, that teacher I remember being funny. You gotta remember I watched. Sorry, you gotta remember I watched this like well over a week ago. So I do apologize if maybe I messed some of this up, but either way, really good episode. 4 out of 5. Oh my god. In the story description for this one in the Google Doc, link in the description, instead of Bobby, I accidentally wrote Booby. You know what? I'm not changing that. It's Booby from now on. Booby Hill. Secret new member of the fam. 2. Texas City Twister. Luann's trailer is flipped back over, making her go back to live there. This one's a 3 out of 5. I don't know. I wasn't loving this one. It kind of reminded me of the Saga of Luann or something like that from the first season. Which, if you don't remember, that episode also dealt with Luann's struggle, and it's just. I don't want to say I don't like Luann as a character because I don't mind her too much, but it's just. I guess I just don't find her like overly engaging, and I know they try to deal with like her past trauma and all that, but like I don't know, the way like she doesn't even try to like stand up for herself and she just kind of cries, and it's just I feel like I'm in that situation, but not in a good way. Like I feel like I'm kind of just cringing and being like, "Oh man, come on, just resolve everything already." Because like no duh, Luann isn't gonna move back in, so already the plot isn't that engaging to me. At least you could try to do some interesting character stuff, but not really. Yeah, this one's not bad, but it's also not really that special. It's kind of just there. A very 3 out of 5. Also, side note, how come like whenever Luann is like upset or something, Peggy instantly like hates on Hank? Like, what the heck, Peggy? Come on. 3. The Arrowhead. A smug professor tricks the Hills into digging in their backyard for Native American artifacts. I'm gonna be real. This one's a 3. And looking back, this one almost gives 2 out of 5 energy. I don't think it's quite that bad, but it is close. To be quite blunt, Peggy is just the worst in this episode, even more than the last one. Seeing her just totally just suck up to this professor wasn't funny. Just seeing the professor be a jerk the whole time wasn't funny, and that's really what most of this was. Just felt bad for Hank. Peggy was just a smug jerk who tried so hard to act like she was the smartest person in the room. And it's like, Peggy, you don't gotta be doing all that. I don't know. This one was kind of annoying. Not horrible, but and I can sit through it. Hence the 3 rating. But I really can't see myself really recommending anyone should actually watch this. I'm gonna look. Was there any good moments? Well, I guess I'm pretty sure it's the beginning, but like it's starting with this new machine and it getting broke instantly. That was funny. Hank almost singing. Bill standing up for natives. Hank saying he's Bobby's role model. Hank thinking about cheese logs. Look, this is how it goes when I write favorite moments in my Google Doc. I just randomly write them, and now all this time later, I have to go back in here and expect to know what the hell I'm talking about. Past Z-Man just is not the most helpful guy any of the time. But yeah, maybe if I go back and rewatch the episode, maybe I can see what the hell I was going on about. But I'm just going with my gut feeling, and my gut feeling is saying this one wasn't that good. 4. Halloween. Not Halloween. Halloween. Bobby. Hank tries to enjoy Halloween, but a woman named Judy tries to ruin it. I'm sorry, folks. I hear something in my roof. Anyway, as it is, it's a good episode. I don't know much to say about this episode, really, other than it's good. Kind of awkward. I'm talking about this in December. Literally the worst time for me to talk about a Halloween episode. At least if it was in November. Well, I live in America, but I'm assuming a lot of people don't. So they wouldn't know about Thanksgiving. It'd be a dirty little secret. Anyway, but it's still a good episode though. Luann wasn't as annoying here since he's clearly just being brainwashed by this woman. So that helped. That was cool. Well, not cool, but it made sense. Plus, in general, them making fun of Christianity and all, or I guess overly religious people who overly just have to take the fun out of everything. That was nice because there are plenty of people who just really just act like that, and it's so annoying, dude. Like, just let us enjoy life instead of always trying to think about the afterlife. I don't know. A good episode though. I enjoyed it. Definitely a good episode to watch during the Halloween season. Reloaded on me. Wow, all that progress I made. 5. Jumping crack bass. It's a gas, gas, gas. Hank accidentally buys a booger sugar, thinking it's fish bait. I have no idea what King of the Hill fans think, but I don't care. This is the show's first 5 out of 5 episode. Man, this was great, man. It's on the lower end of a 5 for sure. It wasn't like the greatest thing ever, but man, I love this episode. I think all I have to say, I think the title really should have explained why I love this one. It's stupid, but in the best way, and the episode just keeps going with it. It's great. Definitely, I'm not even gonna say much honestly, other than just seriously check it out. I think all I'm gonna say though is I think why I love this one so much is that all the characters feel in character, and we're really just watching the characters be the characters in the scenario. Like, yeah, of course Hank would accidentally get in this situation. Of course Dale would somehow get roped into it, but due to him kind of secretly following Hank. All the characters make sense here. All the characters make sense. I feel like themselves, and especially when you're watching through these episodes in order, it really feels good to know you're seeing the characters slowly progress into a better, funnier versions of themselves. Which is, and that's why I really prefer shows like this, where you actually really get to care about the characters instead of just, hey Lois, remember the time I don't know, did things with Adolf Hitler? Oh my god, I can't believe we're doing things with Adolf Hitler. Like, I don't know why I'm saying it like that. You know what? I don't care. You know what? As much as I can enjoy watching Family Guy, I also really love bullying it. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. 6. Husky Bobby. Bobby becomes a model for a fat kid clothing store. This is a pretty good episode. Don't have much to say. This is pretty much one where Bobby gets to live the high life of being a model, but it's for being a fatty. Big old fat kid. You do. Admittedly, don't have much to say about this one, but it is a really good episode. It was really fun seeing, Bobby just trying to go out there and do something new. But this is the first I can actually remember some moments here that, like, without even having to check the Google Doc, there's a Bobby paying Bill to do stuff for him, which, God, Bill. And earlier in that episode too, he was so desperate for Hank to join him for breakfast. It's like, Bill, why are you so pathetic, Bill? Like, oh my God. We also have towards the beginning of the episode when Bobby was just casually in the store and he's like, "Oh, hey, this suits me," and Hank and Peggy are like, "Oh yeah, it does." But then we get to reveal that no, they actually were not approving of that. They're just faking it. Felt so bad, but it was so funny. This is a really good episode. I'm sorry that my descriptions for these episodes have been stinking so far, but I promise this is a really good episode, Twin. Trust. 7. The man who shot Canis Grutterberg. Hank and the guys get traumatized by teenagers at the fun center. This one's a 5 out of 5. I love the hell out of this one. Easily best episode of the whole show so far. I mean, given that this is only the second 5 out of 5 I've given an episode so far, both of the season and the show overall, I mean, it's kind of a safe bet to guess this would be the best one. This is another one where the premise is just really fun. I really enjoyed just seeing the Hank and his crew go up against these stupid teenagers. And as someone, well, as of recording this, I'm currently 17, and so technically I'm in that weird awkward era where I'm kind of almost an adult, but I'm still kind of labeled as a teen. But yeah, even back when I was a teen, I had a self realization to realize, yeah, my teens can suck hard. I mean, to be fair, any and all age groups kind of suck. We all suck. The world sucks. That took a weirdly depressing route. But anyways, back to this episode. Yeah, teens definitely have their problems, and I'm glad we kind of just got a whole. It almost felt like the writers just wanted an excuse to write a whole episode that made fun of teens. While also kind of poking fun of themselves or acknowledging that, yeah, we're getting older. We're not going to be doing all the cool stuff we were able to. Well, this is a great episode. Again, this is one where it's tough to really describe it. I feel like you kind of just got to watch it. All I'm going to say is that an old guy briefly joins the group, and it's but even though the old guy was making fun of them earlier in the episode, in it, I remember that realization being really, really funny. 8. The son that got away. Bobby and his friends go to a cave called the Boneyard to escape their parents. I like this episode. 4 out of 5. One of those episodes I like without it being really special. It is cool to see more of Bobby and his friend group. I feel like we really don't get to see. We haven't really seen Bobby hang out with Connie. Also, side note: do you spell Connie like Connie, like the Connie I know how to spell, or is it Connie, but like it's Con, like the other character Con, who's Kahn? How do you spell Connie's freaking name, man? I know I could just call her Con Junior, but I'm not doing that because that's a lazier way of saying her name. Oh yeah, and we also get to see Joseph. So it's the three of them, and their dynamic is fun. You really, admittedly, they do kind of try to get into like some romance stuff. Like, oh man, who's Connie gonna end up with? I can't really say I'm that interested in like a child romance, but it was still fun enough. And I did like, and just seeing a Con just in general in an episode, not Connie, but Con like her dad, Con, is always fun. And Con's definitely one of my favorite characters. I remember really liking his introduction episode back the gazillion years ago. I covered season 1. So yeah, good episode, but doesn't stand out as like top tier King of the Hill. 9, The Company Man. Hank tries selling propane to a Boston person, but Hank's forced to act overly Texan. Man, this one wasn't working for me. It's a 3 out of 5. I kind of just wanted to hurt the Boston person the whole time. He drags this thing way down. It's not even a fun kind of annoying. I just straight up didn't like him. I didn't want him on my screen. He was so aggravating. He didn't even do much. He just showed up, was like, oh, hey, you gotta be all this. You gotta be Texan. You gotta reference freaking Dallas. No one remembers Dallas. The only reason I know even a little bit about it is because the Simpsons parodied its famous Who Shot JR cliffhanger with Who Shot Mr. Burns. That's pretty much it. That's the only reason I even know Dallas is a thing. So yeah, not a horrible episode, but yeah, that Boston guy really ruins it. I do like the scene where Hank and a how do I say that? A prostitute, Hank and a prostitute end up bonding, and she says, "Oh, you know, Hank, you and me are kind of the same." I remember that being funny. I also kind of found it funny how the Boston person just randomly wanted to get in a fight with someone. But yeah, it's a 3. Watchable, but doesn't stand out as anything too special. 10, Bobby Slam. Bobby joins the wrestling team, and Connie tries to also join. Another Connie episode after, well, not that long ago. This is a 4 out of 5, and I think I like it slightly more. Good episode about gender stereotypes, obviously. This episode definitely delves into, I shouldn't have said obviously, it wasn't obvious. But yeah, it delves into like gender things and about like how women have been underrepresented in sports and all that. I've made my thoughts on gender episodes clear, but this is admittedly a good example of it, mostly because they don't entirely make fun of the men because you got people like Bobby who actually are just nice people, and it's clear Bobby and Connie just only did this whole thing because they just wanted to hang out, you know. Well, so it doesn't come off as sexist towards one gender, and instead feels more real. Like, hey, yeah, women should like we shouldn't entirely hate on men, which a lot of gender episodes tend to do, which I hate. But it's also like, yeah, this is stupid. Just support women's sports, guys. Come on. Handled very well. This is a good episode. 11, The Unbearable Blindness of Lang. It's Christmas, and Hank has to deal with Hank's mom's new boyfriend, Gary. A Christmas episode. It's December. By the way, guys, what's your favorite Christmas song? My favorite Christmas song is All I Want for Christmas Is Me. Anyway, episode is a 4 out of 5. It's a pretty good. Gary is such a chill guy. I just enjoyed watching him. Exact opposite of that jerk Boston guy from a couple episodes ago. Gary is great. I don't like how he and Hank's mom did the hanky panky in the kitchen though. Like that was, I know Hank and his family were like going out and everything, but still, you're what the hell was all that about? Especially since you're a guest in someone else's house. Like, don't do that. That would anger the heck out of me if someone did that. So don't be doing all that. Hank also ends up briefly going blind, which I at first I thought, well, that's kind of weird and dumb, but the more it went on, the more it really started to work for me. King of the Hill doesn't always have to be the most realistic show. Sometimes it can be a little silly like this, especially when it still supports the character journey of Hank having to come to terms with the fact that Hank's parents got divorced, so now we have to just deal with Hank's mom just rebounding to Gary. Way better than Hank's real dad Cotton ever will be. That's for true. Well, pretty good episode right here. "12. Meet the Manger Babies." Luann comes up with a religious puppet show. I don't know, man. In a season like this with 23 episodes, a 3 out of 5 one like this, I honestly just don't want to even bother talking about. That could be the problem when you have to go through so many episodes. An episode like this that's so meh okay. I just don't care. Like it's fine. Like I watched it and I sat through it. I did kind of like Hank playing God. That was fun. I liked how the Reverend, I'm pretty sure it was, really didn't want anyone to stain his carpet. That was funny. In general, though, this one doesn't really stick out as anything too memorable, though. It's a fine, watchable enough experience. So. 13. Snow Job. Oh, yeah. Wrong kind of snow job, though. Hank's boss is in the hospital, but despite being his right-hand man, Hank isn't put in charge of his company. Yep. It's a 3 out of 5. This one I have some interesting thoughts on, though, because I feel like this really could have worked. But I think it's the ending that for once fully ruins an episode for me. It made me restrict it from a 4 to a 3. And I think the reason I don't like this one is because of the forced status quo. The forced status quo is God thing. Look, I'm fine with status quo is God things typically. I don't like it. As much as I love shows like The Simpsons or American Dad, seeing the characters age up just semi naturally would make those shows way better. But fine, everything stays the same. I get that on some level. But this episode is so forced with having to bring everything back to the way things were that it seriously annoys me. The whole premise is Hank getting fired and him not. The whole premise is about Hank realizing how much his company sucks and how much his boss sucks. But in the end, it's still like, oh, I got some propane and propane accessories. Even though he's coming up with this really, honestly, extremely cute idea about a mom and pop shop and doing it with Peggy. It was so cute. I don't know. It just makes me wish the show was at least kept that for at least a little bit. I don't know, man. Before that, the episode was solid enough. But I was actually seriously like, oh hey, maybe. I mean, I'm curious about this, but nope. Just Hank goes to his answering machine and suddenly is all back into the propane business. So. Honestly, if you want a good example of why these type of status quo changes can really anger me in these kinds of shows, just watch this episode. It's a good, or at least the end. Well, not really ending because you kind of need to watch the whole thing to really get why the ending really annoys me. So, well, still a fine episode though. Well, 14. I remember Mono. It's not an episode title. I just remember it. For real though, the episode is about Peggy realizes more about a Valentine's Day she had 20 years ago. She's not that old. Meanwhile, Bobby gets a secret admirer. Bow, chicka, bow. Oh, it turns out to be his grandma. Kugatama. 4 to 5 right here. This one's solid. Not a ton of this one, but it's still a good one. You really feel bad for Hank though, because the episode makes it clear that okay, so pretty much what happens is that instead of hurting his back, and that's why I had to miss Peggy's Valentine's Day dinner 20 years ago. It's instead of revealed that Hank got kissed by a girl, but like the girl obviously forced herself on Hank and thus gave Hank mono. I feel so bad for Hank though because he obviously do not want to kiss this girl because we see the flashback. We see what actually happened in that moment. Hank did not want that. And yet still Peggy's hitting on him. Another one of those times where I'm just like, Peggy, come on. Be more supportive to your man. Hank's an awesome guy. You really gotta be putting him down so consistently, It's stuff like this that makes you just feel so bad for Hank, bro. It's still got a cute. I like that Peggy at least realizes that she was wrong by the end, and it's still a funny and good episode. I definitely liked it towards the end when Hank was trying to show his more romantic side, but since Hank is Hank, obviously it doesn't work super well. So it's still a good episode. Man, Peggy. 15. 3 days of condo. Hank and Con take a vacation in Mexico with their families. Not much to say. Solid 4 out of 5. Again, mostly good because we're just seeing the characters being the characters. It's all fun and good, though. Find it funny that Dale just randomly shows up, though, and forces himself into this. That was pretty funny. Also, you gotta like how Hank and Dale eventually have to cross the border, even though they're, white. It's crazy work. 16. Traffic jam. Hank has to go to traffic class, but deals with an annoying comedian instructor. This one's a 4 out of 5. Not anything. Another one that's not anything crazy good. It's something I'm noticing a lot with these episodes, but still good. Admittedly, it's an episode that deals with like black culture and like black jokes, and Bobby trying to be a black comedian. Nice big piece of black. Oh, and it's. I mean, I don't, dude. I'm white. I'm not touching this. I'm not touching the topics discussed in this episode. All I'm gonna say is that I liked watching it, but it wasn't like anything crazy good to me. Admittedly, I would 1,000% be Hank in this scenario. I would just want to be taught the dang lesson and just get out of here. I don't want to listen to some comedy bit. And have you seen most of the shows I review? I clearly like comedy, but not in a real situation like that. I was kind of just on Hank's. One of the times I'm honestly on Hank's side of the entire time. Which happens a lot more with him than someone like Homer or Peter, where they're kind of just meant to be dumb. Hank, oftentimes, while definitely not always right, you usually at least understand his point of view. Well, "17. Hank's dirty laundry. Hank gets bad credit because of an adult tape. Meanwhile, Bobby plans for his birthday. Okay, B plot's mid. Main plot, though? Man, this is a 4 out of 5. It's just Hank being himself and a very great version of himself. I love how Hank just won't pay for the adult tape because he seriously believes that he didn't pay for it. And because of that, he just goes on this whole spiral. On the one hand, like, obviously you should just pay for it. But on the other hand, I seriously gotta respect the commitment to my boy Hank did this whole time. He was determined to make sure that the person who really got the tape got their just desserts. So it's really fun, honestly. It's again, it's another thing where I'm just watching Hank being himself, and that's all we need for a really good episode like this one. Definitely one of the better episodes from the season. I definitely really enjoyed this one. 18, the final Shinshalt. I'm not even gonna bother try to restate that. Cotton breaks up with his girl and bugs Hank while Dale defends him. This one's a 4 out of 5, and it's pretty good. I already said that like that. But I do mean it. This is definitely one of my favorite season 2 episodes, and honestly, just shy of a 5. This feels like a better version of Cotton's first episode from season 1, except Cotton's even more awful here. And plus, we have the really fun dynamic between Hank, Cotton, and Dale. With Hank and Cotton obviously being father and son, and Cotton very obviously hating Hank. But then we have Hank and Dale who are best friends, but Dale always defends Cotton. So it's a really fun and interesting group. Also, you gotta love how Dale defends Cotton the whole episode, but the second Dale thinks he can get in trouble, he instantly just lets Cotton deal with his own mess. Like, Dale does not care. He does not want to get in trouble. It's classic Dale. Honestly, Dale is easily one of my favorite characters in the show, alongside Hank and Con. Hank, Con, and Dale are probably my top 3 favorite characters. Admittedly, the ending was a little iffy. At least at first I thought it was with Cotton. At first I thought they were giving Cotton a happy ending, which I really was not a fan of because do you want Cotton to have a happy ending? If you say yes, I'm seriously worried for your health. Or you're just trolling. You're trolling, aren't you? But no, it reveals the twist ending, and it worked really well. This is a really good episode. Definitely one I recommend watching. 19. Leanne's saga. Luann's mother, Leanne, comes to stay at the Hill House. Man, this one just be a 3 out of 5. High key. Everything about this one felt generic. Luann's dangerous mother comes back in, but it reveals in the end she's dangerous because she drank alcohol. She ends up falling in love with Bill, but are they actually gonna get married? Way too boring and standard. Dude, that's been bugging me the whole time. Too boring and standard, not fun, not that engaging. It's okay. Like I watched the episode. It's fine. God, I sound dead inside. 20, junkie business. Hank hires a drug addict unknown to Hank. 4 out of 5. Another solid one that deals with gender issues again. I thought we already dealt with this in Bobby Slam, but okay. Again, though, Peggy, in another section of me hating on Peggy Hill, despite me still liking her as a character, her getting overly annoyed at Hank for not hiring the woman. Hank was definitely being sexist, so I definitely think Peggy should have made fun of Hank for that, but come on. Come on. Especially by the weird ending, which I'm not even going to try to describe. I kind of liked seeing Hank have to deal with a drug addict. I think Leon was the druggie's name. I didn't find Leon that particularly interesting or compelling as a character, but it was still a solid episode. It definitely got funnier towards the end when everyone in Hank's office just claimed they had a disability or something, when it was all just stupid BS, which people would totally do in real life because, well, let's be honest, we're naturally lazy creatures. The fact it took this long to even watch all these episodes and make this video proves is just a very good proof of that. 21, Life in the Fast Lane, Bobby Saga. Bobby gets a job at a racetrack selling treats, but has to deal with a bad boss. It's been a hot minute, but we finally got one. Another 5 out of 5. Bobby's boss, Jimmy, is such an amazing character. I love him so much. Don't have much to say, honestly, other than Jimmy is just a really funny character. You feel bad for Bobby, too. Like, yeah, he was lazy in the beginning, but Peggy kind of has a point. Bobby is a kid. He really should just be doing kid things, you know? I mean, I've never had a job. YouTube's been the closest thing to being my job. And I could tell you already, just from trying to have a YouTube channel, I am bad at jobs. Bobby did work his hardest, though, and so it's nice to see Hank reward him in the end. Admittedly, the whole thing with like, there's a whole section about like Boomhauer racing, and I didn't really care about that part. But the Bobby part, that part was great. This is a great episode. 22, Peggy's Turtle Song. Bobby gets claimed to have ADHD, so Peggy becomes a stay-at-home mom to support it. 4 to 5, but man, this is like the third episode now that deals with like feminism and all that. Really weird they had so many episodes this season about it. I don't know. Still a good episode though. Bobby having to be on ADHD pills despite the fact he doesn't have ADHD was really funny and probably the highlight of this episode. I also like how it dealt with the ending where like where Peggy and Hank truly realize they love each other, and Hank realizes he should support Peggy, and Peggy realizes that she still loves her husband, so she shouldn't put him down too hard. We need more women like that, you know. Don't be putting men down all the time. Don't you gotta be hating on men all the time. Feminists be acting like, oh, we're equal, but then they just go on to hate men, and it's just so annoying. Personal opinions aside, though, this is a good episode, and I found it funny. 23, propane boom. Megalomart sells propane. This causes issues for Hank. Don't much to say. This is a fun episode. 4 out of 5. Hank getting angry at Megalomart is both very understandable, and you feel very bad for Hank. It's just a fun episode seeing Hank have to try to work with these younger people. It's all you just feel bad for Hank. Even Luann eventually gets jealous at him, which is like, come on, Luann, I know you gotta work, but like, as the episode even makes us remember, she has the Manger Babies show. So like, she's already doing stuff. Does she even really need the job? That wasn't the best explained. Still a good, solid episode and a good end to the season. But if you want to know why the episode's called propane, I'm such an idiot. Propane boom then it's because at the start of season 3 we deal with the second part, propane boom But obviously, since that's a part of season 3, I'm not going to be talking about that. So you're going to have to find out what happens. In terms of the overall list, at the bottom at number 23, who we have the Arrowhead, Texas City Twister, Leanne Saga, The Company Man, Meet the Manger Babies, and Snow Job. Now, time for 4 out of 5s. The overwhelming majority of these episodes. We got Traffic Jam, The Sun That Got Away, Bobby Slam, 3 Days of Condo, Junkie Business, Halloween, I Remember Mono. Then for the top 10, we got Propane Boom Unbearable Blindness of Lang, Husky Bobby, Peggy's Turtle Song, Hank's Dirty Laundry, How to Fire a Rifle Without Really Trying, The Final Shin Salt. And for the top 3, the trio of truly great episodes, Jumping Crass Bass, It's a Gas, Gas, Gas. Such a fun title. Life in the Fast Lane of Bobby Saga. And I definitely think The Man Who Shot Kane Scrutterberg was easily the best episode of the season. We're already like 40 minutes in. I don't have to say much about the season. It was consistently good, but I do think it seriously lacked having a lot of episodes I considered like truly great. especially towards like the middle. There were a lot of episodes I either liked or thought were okay, but didn't really do much to stand out to me. Hopefully, season 3 fixes this problem, especially since this one ended on a cliffhanger. But we shall see. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. I tell you what, man, like I'm all like I'm seeing you next time, and it's like you're gonna be hearing my voice again. It's gonna be all like.